Hey everybody, I thought it would be kind of a cool thing to show off some Torment, Tides of Numenara. I got this early access. It comes out in a month and a week, or a little less than that maybe. 28th of February. February. Um, okay, so
Yes, now.
I just started playing this game. I will be honest, while I kind of cut my teeth on games like Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, when Torment first came out, the original Torment, which this is a spiritual successor to, not a direct sequel, if I understand correctly, I was pretty tired of the Infinity Engine by then. I since kind of recaptured that enjoyment, but I never did go back and revisit
Yes,
Torment.
now.
I keep meaning to, and someday I plan to. Now, that being said, this is based on some pen and paper rules that seem kind of cool.
Fine.
The writing here, from what I've seen, is really on point. And I only played it for like a couple minutes. Like, I think my total time in the game is like 10. This is really early in the game. This is just basically after like you're shown how to do some stuff and you create your character. I'm not gonna get into the spoil or the specifics of the game. I'm hardly even gonna like talk to people because it's very dialogue heavy, and I don't want to sit here reading to you guys. But I wanted to talk about some of the mechanics that I thought were really well done and interesting, and why I'm excited about playing this some more. So first of all, let's just take a look at the game world. You can see it's quite fetching. The animations are really nice, lovingly rendered. There's a living world here, this little city I'm exploring. You can hold on tab and get a bunch of information on things you can click on for more info or to interact. That's a little pointing finger here means. There's a plethora of information for your character. Let's take a look at my character sheet. Let's look at inventory. We'll go to the top down to the bottom. Inventory. Alright, I love this interface here. So you've got experience, you've got equipment, you've got weapons, you've got a backpack full of items, you've got these ciphers that are powerful use items that you can only have so many equipped. And I think if you equip them to these slots here, you can start getting poisoned and you can get injured. But if you equip them in this central ring, which I only have 3 slots currently, you're okay. You can have as many as you want then. Or, 3. You got stats, you got defenses, you've got fettles, which are like status effects, hit points. This is the most important thing you've got here. This is your pool. You got might pool, speed pool, and intellect pool. Now, when you first start playing, a narrator walks you through what happens, and there's some really fun choices to make, and it all leads to a character creation where you can kind of customize and build your character, starting with 3 templates, kind of a mage type, a rogue type, and a fighter type. That's very simplified from what it actually is. But to help wrap your head around without seeing it, that's the gist. So once you create your character, you can pick a couple things like skills and abilities. And at tier 1, I had a few cool options, and it was actually kind of hard to pick. But what I landed on for my nano, who probably won't be how I make my character in the full version, is you get to pick 2 abilities, and you start with Onslaught. Onslaught is a damaging attack, which you can actually, if I remember correctly, all these abilities you can put extra points from the appropriate pool to improve their effect. Yeah, here we go. +1 damage per effort applied. So if I take my pool of 9 intellect, which I have 4 currently, or 10 I guess is my pool right now, I can dump points into that attack and do more damage. I'm a novice in it. That's what the 2 gray pips mean. 1 colored pip is trained. 2 colored pips is specialized, and then if you have a red pip in there, it goes the other direction. I have scan thoughts, which is super cool. It literally lets me like see during dialogue what people are kind of thinking about. And I have picked adaptation, which gives me the protected fettle, which is +2 armor, +1 resistance per tier. So, and it's active for 3 rounds. So combat is turn-based, and actually combat isn't really called combat, it's called crisis. When the crisis pops up, everything turns into turn-based, and I like it a lot. It seems really neat. I think not just fighting things, but you can actually like go into crisis mode and deal with all kinds of challenges. All right, so we got quests and things here. I won't dwell on any of that stuff for now. There's tides. I actually was talking to people, and my dialogue I was picking was changing the dominant tide, which right now looks like it's idealist. We've got, let's see, what else I want to show you in here. I think that's everything I want to show you there. I think that's character sheet. That's the journal, area map, merchants. So let's take a look at some stuff. So there's a lot of times when you're playing this game where things are going to pop up and happen based on your skills, based on your past choices you've made. I'm getting distracted because of this guy. This is really cool looking. I've only seen this before in the trailer they put out. So let's talk to Steristi here real quick. All right. And again, I don't want to sit here reading to you guys, but I'll skim this real quick. So nearly every inch of this merchant's body is covered in tightly wound robes and furs. A hood obscures its head, and a mask conceals its face. It caresses a cracked ancient scroll with dark fingers. It notices you and gently taps its similarly dressed companion on the shoulder, leaving a smudge of fibrous ink. Surprise, embitterment. I'm scanning the thoughts. Now, normally if I'm scanning the thoughts of a creature, it's normal like conversational text. So this is a little bit of a Mass Effect. What's that one? It's a species that just speaks in what they're feeling. Surprise, embitterment. Okay. So his companion turns to me and says, Felinda recognized the thief at once, the creature says, crossing its swaddled arms. Perhaps she imagined that by speaking with Stirce, she would evade Felinda's notice. Unfortunately for her, nothing ever did. Alright, so I'm being narrated, apparently. Let's just watch Stirce work and see what he's doing. Merchant's spread-fingered hands glide over a faded parchment with the faint sounds of quills scratching. Vibrant letters in an unfamiliar tongue appear in their wake. Thanks to my lore, natural, which I picked a character creation, the merchant is restoring the work once recorded on the scroll, not writing it. You are certain of that, but is it scanning it in some way or coaxing the text from the page? Looking closely, you see that Stirce's fingers are unraveling into coiling threads that taste the faded letters before pricking the page itself. Fresh ink wells up from the holes, forming words. Gain 2 experience points. You cut holes in the page and ink flows up, almost as if you're tattooing it. Or I could watch him work some more. I could ask why that guy's narrating me. Let's ask him. Let's explain what he's doing and see if we're right. Stirce jerks in what can only be surprise, then holds up a single coalescing finger, bidding you to watch. It resumes restoring the scroll, but slower, so you can watch and understand. Eventually, you do. The page is no simple grocery list or musty treatise. Stirce's methods must be different if it was. The scroll's alive, and Stirce is carefully and methodically waking it up. The fresh ink gleams as brightly as a sleeper's eye on waking. He's amazement, esteem. He's impressed by me, I think. When the scroll's fully restored, the ink flashes, the page promptly crumples itself up and bursts into flames. Neither of the merchants react to this in any way. When the smoke clears, Stirce plucks an object from the pile of ashes, taking hold of your wrist and leaving tingly, inky fingerprints. The merchant drops into your palm and closes your hand over it. Then Stirce takes another faded page from a pile and starts fresh. I gained Amulet of the Eternal Traveler, which grants me the ability Flex Skill, which allows me to choose an exploration, lore, or conversational skill and gain +1 in it while that skill is active. That is very cool. So, I can keep watching him work. I can ask why his partner's narrating. Let's see if I can get another cool item. The merchant again passes a hand over the page, and you hear the page scrape of quill on paper. Dark letters emerge from the shadows of that hand as it pulls from beneath the page. Looks like that's just gonna keep happening. He's just gonna keep working. Alright, why are you narrating me? I'm being ignored. Why don't you talk? Merchant does not acknowledge your question in the slightest. At all? Okay. Farewell then. Alright, so that was a kind of a cool little exchange, and it didn't involve using any of my dice pools. But a lot of times when you have a challenge, like trying to do something that requires fast reflexes or great strength or a feat of intellect, you'll need to perform a skill check. And you can influence the skill check by spending these points, these pools. I don't know how these refresh. I'm guessing just resting. I can only spend up to 2 right now in any given challenge. Let's take a look at this. Let's equip this. Alright. So now I've got this equipped. So from the quick item here, I can click on this guy and I can actually see all the items in my backpack that I can just use if I want to. Here are the skills. I'm not in combat, so they're grayed out. But let's click on the flex skill here. Alright, we can go with Perception, Persuasion, Intimidation, Deception, Smashing, Quick Fingers, Natural Lore, Mystical Lore, Machinery Lore. Some of these I already have 1 point in, so it would make me trained in them. Let's go with Persuasion. There we go. So if I look now, I have a Fettle. Flex skill until active next sleep. Increases the Jack's. By the way, the Jack is the rogue skill class. Flex skill is actually one of the skills they can pick or they start with. I forget which, but it's kind of awesome that I get an amulet that does that. So now I've technically got a point in Persuasion. It's not listed over here, but I do have 1 point in it now. So there we go. All right, that I believe also makes the points that I put in from my pool, the relevant pool, more effective. So this is kind of how the game works. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little cut in here quick and just walk around until I can find an example of the skill system with using pools and things like that. Because there's an important point I want to make about that. So give me a moment, I'll be right with you. Okay, so I'm back, and I did find a way to try and deceive this guy right here. Now, my character, not being very deceptive by default, has a 5% chance of success. But because I have put a point into deception, thanks to my amulet, I actually can improve my odds by up to 40%, 20% per point I'm willing to spend. Up to 2 points is my maximum effort right now. So I'll try it. I failed anyway. So failure is not necessarily failure. A couple times now I've failed trying a challenge, and both times gained something different, which was really interesting. For example, while trying to reach into some brambles, I don't know what was going to happen if I succeeded, but instead I failed, and I got cut by these alien brambles. And they injected some sort of toxin into my system that strengthened my bloodstream somehow, and it actually gave me an additional permanent point of health. I thought that was amazing. So in this case, failure here means I'm no friend of this guy, and he's not going to tell me what he's into. This actual quest line is right from that trailer that came out. If you wanted to go through that, it's a really fun interactive trailer where you can figure out like the couple 4, 5, 7 different ways I think it actually is to resolve the quest involving this creature in this this tube. So, okay. Well, other than combat, I don't have anything else I wanted to kind of talk about, and I wanted to keep this brief. But so far, from what I've seen, this is really something special. And it's going to be coming out on consoles, too, so all you guys with Xboxes and PS4s, you can enjoy this as well. I wonder if I can play this with the controller. I would be okay with that, maybe. If you can just steer and walk around. Okay, well, if you have any questions specifically, I'm happy to help. Just drop it in the comments, and I'll see what I can do about answering it. In the meantime, look for more coverage on this once the full game's out. I'm not going to play too much more until then. Thanks for watching.